Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm back here with another video, and this video is in continuation with the previous one where I have demonstrated to how can we register a user. So this video is in continuation with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a separate view for a user and for an admin. So first I'm going to do a separation of these, and for this I'm going to use a role-based system, and then I'm going to create you can say like a render kind of a thing where I'm going to get a list of users, right? So this is not going to be a beautiful, or you can say a complete kind of interface. It is going to be a simple one as of now, and then later on the later part of the videos I will try to beautify it, or maybe have some kind of more functionality to the interface. So without wasting any time, I would like you to request to subscribe to my channel. I see that a lot of viewers are watching this video, but these videos or previous videos, but still not subscribing to my channel. It's a humble request that you should do that because it keeps me motivated enough so that I can make more videos. So I will not beg now. Let's continue with the video and see how we can do that. Okay, so let's do a quick recap first. So this was the project that we had in the part 3 of the video, and this is what it looked like. So if I try to log in, so let's say admin, so it says welcome admin to the site, and what is happening is like the admin page and the user page both look same. So if I log in through any user, let's say test1, so it looks same, and there are no other functionalities which can differentiate among user and admin. So that is one thing that I want to do in this video. Another thing is that I don't see any role right now, so I am going to create few tables, 2 tables actually, so that I can know that this user is of type admin and this one is just an employee. So this is what we did, and first we are going to create tables. So this was the only table that we had before, and that is what we needed. So here you can see that we have 3 users right now, and this one is admin, these ones are just employees, but we cannot differentiate right now because they looks exactly same. So we need 2 tables right now. So if I have to be specific, I already said that I am going to use some kind of role-based system. So we need a table role where I'm going to add any kind of role that I want in near future, and there is going to be a table user role. This is going to hold the relevant role for a specific employee or a user, right? So first let's create table role. So here let me write this quickly. So what do we need? In role we just need an ID and name, right? That's it, that is what we need, nothing else. So ID is going to be int not null and auto increment. Then I need name, so name is going to be varchar, and I'm just going to use 255 as default, and then I have to do a primary key. So ID is going to be the primary key, and that's it, right? So it's created. Now for user role, what we need is let me write down. So here we need few additional columns. So first very important column is going to be ID int not null and auto increment. Now we are going to have role ID here. So this is going to be a foreign key constant for us, but I'm not going to specify it through foreign key constant. I just know that this is going to be that, and then I need user ID. So here user ID is the ID of user, not the username. So I somehow created a column which signifies something else maybe, so it can be confusing, but right now this user ID can be treated as username, which has to be unique, right? So I'm not getting this, rather I'm getting this. So this is what I need to map with the role ID, right? So user ID is going to be int. Okay, now I need to specify the primary key, and that's all. So this table is going to be used when we are creating or registering a new user. That's only when we are going to use this, but our admin user has to be there, because I don't want anyone to create an admin user. It has to be controlled or managed by some kind of admin team, right? So either we can create a separate page for them, or right now we can do it manually. So let's first create roles, and as of now we only have 2 roles. We don't have it right now, but we are going to do that. So as you can see, we don't have anything, so let's quickly insert. So name and just name, that is what we need. So first let's do admin, and then let's do what to say, yeah, employee. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so we have 2 roles. Now what we need is, we need to create a user role just for admin, right? Because that has to be manual. I'm not doing it through the interface, but for each employee, whenever an employee comes and register himself or herself, it is going to add an entry to this table, right? So it can be a bit confusing, but it's just for admin, so that I can show you both the views. That's it. So I know few things here, that role ID for admin is 1, that you can see right now, but your user ID you don't know, so I'm going to show you that. So again, this has to be done using a view, and I'm going to do that, but not right now. Okay, so it's 3, so 1, 3, and right now we can see that it is there. All right, so good to go. So we can also try to log in, because it's there, but we don't have this user role managed through our code, basically controllers. So if I were to open the controller, it doesn't render anything which can be used for our role based thing, but we have to do that, right? So initially, if you see what we have changed, first we have separated an admin view and an employee view. So first we have to have 2 views, right? So right now we just have 1 view, welcome. So first let's do that. So I'm just going to use this one just for a reference. So let's do user, and I will just rename this to admin. Okay, so we have 2 now, but I have to know that this user who is trying to log in, if he or she is an admin or an employee. So I have to have some kind of if condition. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a new constant class, which is going to hold down each and every constant, and it is also going to include our constant of roles. So I'm going to have 2 roles right now, which are admin and employee. So I'm just going to hold on to that. So I'll just simply do constants. I don't have anything good right now, so let's just name it that. So Spring Demo, and then let's do constants. Okay, good to go. Now let's do private static final int. So this is going to be role admin, and we know that it is 1. Role employee. Okay, good enough. Or I could have used a string value here saying admin, or here saying employee, right? That can be also one option. Whatever suits your requirement, that is up to you. So now I have the constants here. Now I have to identify that this user which is trying to log in, if it is an employee or an user. So I need to change this Pojo class also. So I'm going to add one more here, which is going to be int ID, which I didn't do earlier, and it should be long rather than int ID. And then let's do private, again it can be long, and it is going to be role ID. So I'm not going to use name here, ID. And let's generate setter and getters. Okay, again let's generate toString just for debugging purpose, in case we need that. It's always a good practice. Alright, so Pojo is complete. Now we have to make changes to Dao and Service Layer. So let's quickly do that. So this one is just getting the user, so we'll do here. So here we are just getting user ID and password, right? We also have to get the role. So I have to make changes here to this query, right? So right now if I copy this, so I'm using admin here for the reference. So password is admin, that's good, but I need to find out the role also. So for that, what I will do is I will use a join to another table, which is user role, and that is why I created this, right? So user role dot, I have a column user ID, and I'll compare it with user dot ID, right? Here I have to change to this. So if I do that, I can get one more column, which is going to be role ID. Here you can see, right? So if I run this now, is there any problem? Yeah, I forgot to put on. So now I have the role ID also, and through this I can compare with my constants whether it is an admin or an employee. And we know that right now we are querying for admin, and it is an admin user, so that's good. So I'll just copy this query till here and paste it here. All right, let's do this also. So it seems good enough. So now I am getting two columns, role ID and password. So I have to set that here also, user dot set role ID, and here I can do get long and 2. Okay, good enough. Now let's come back to controller. So here I am getting the role in this user. So here I'm checking the password first and then the role, and that's good, right? Now I will check for one more thing. So here I will just do get role ID equals. So this welcome page was replaced by admin, right? So I'll just do constants okay. What went wrong? Okay, I made them public. That's what went wrong. Okay, so now I can see. So if the user which is trying to log in is an admin, I will put user ID and return the admin page, but this has to be common, right? So I can do it like this, else, or I can do else if, but right now I know that there are only two users, two type of roles, so I can use else, otherwise I should use else if. So in that case I have to return user. So right now we won't be able to see much difference, but again if I want to see a good difference, I can go to our user.jsp and I can change the title here, welcome user, and if I go to admin, I can change this one to welcome admin, right? So now let's see if it is working fine. So let's do first admin. So here you can see that the title is admin, so which is what we wanted. And now let's do test one. Again, this is not going to work because we don't have user one right now in this table. So this dependency is going to create an issue. So what we should do is we should register a new user and then let's try to log in, right? So here let's do test2 and test2 and do register. So it got created. Okay, something went wrong. Okay, so as you can see here, this exception is coming from this method get user by ID, and what I can think of right now is it is good till here, like I have implemented everything accurately, but what I didn't thought of is when we are creating a new user, like I said, we have to make an entry to user, but also we have to make an entry to user role. So what went wrong is in user role there is still only one user, right? So we have to update this also in the sense that all the dependencies should be satisfied. So for this what I need to do is I need to get the ID of the user, because in user role I need role ID, which I know, and user ID, role ID and user ID. So user ID I have to fetch after it is inserting into this table. So for that I'm going to use key holders, right? So it's simple, and let's see what we have to do. Okay, so I'm going to use this very same syntax to insert into user role table, but for user I have to change the syntax a bit. So I'm going to keep this like this, but I'm going to copy it. So let's create two SQL here. Okay, so now for user it is going to be this query is same, like it's okay, but I don't have to return now, rather I have to hold on to the generated key which is automatically generated. So I'm going to use here key holder. So let's do key holder and generated key holder. Now I have to pass this instance, right? So first I need to provide on which column I have to use this key holder, because I can only get a particular column's value, right? So here not particular, rather I can get an array of values, but I have to specify that use this column to get the value. So I know that that value is going to be ID. So what I'm doing, stupid me. Okay, so this is it that we had to do. Now when it returns the prepared statement, then what I have to do is I don't have to close it. I have to pass on to my key holder, because this is going to be used when this is generating the prepared statement, executing the query. So when it executes the query, it passes on the prepared statements, and through that it is going to get the key out for me so that I can later on use it. Alright, so in this key holder I should now have the value. So after this gets executed, I can get the ID through my key holder. So long value, I can get the int value also, but somehow for a big system I know that int is not going to suffice the requirement, so let's do long. So now for this one I just have to return like this. Right, so here the query is going to be different, because now I'm going to insert into user role, and it is going to be role ID and user ID. And let's remove this. Right, so here let's do SQL2, and from where I'm going to get role ID. Role ID is, I know that this is always going to be an employee, so I can directly do constants dot role employee, and here I have to provide the ID that we just got, and let's change these two. It should be long. No, this one should be int, and this one should be long. Right, good enough. Now it should be able to do that. Let's wait for it to get refreshed. I think it did. Okay, alright, so let's now try to register another user. So third time is the charm, so test 3. Alright, so let's see if we got that. Alright, so we got it. User ID is now 5, and we have 2 rows, so that's good enough. Now let's try to log in. So here I can see welcome user, so good enough, right? Now we have both the views which I wanted actually, and now what I have to do is I have to render all the users list and provide to the user, right? Not user, admin. So for that, what I need to do is, when the user is trying to log in and when I'm throwing this page back, admin, I need to provide one more thing to the model. So here I'm going to provide a list. So for that, now I have to do changes in Dao. So I'll make one method here which is going to give out list of user, right? And we'll do get all users. Copy this because we are going to need this, and come down to service. Okay, Okay, now let's do the implementation. There is no error. It should generate an error here. Okay, it didn't got saved, that's why. Alright, so let's come down to service also. Okay, this one is done. Now Dao IMPL. So here I just have to simply do SQL select star from, right? So let's copy this and use this here. But here this is a list, so this one is going to be query, and here let's do select star from user, and prepared statement this I have to set here user, right? I shouldn't do this, and okay, it has to get completely changed. Okay, all right, so query, and here I know it is going to be SQL. Okay, SQL here, and now I have to use row mapper here of type user. Right, now I have to override, so it should do that for me. Okay, let's create a new user. So here I could have created a constructor which could have set values for me, but right now easier way is this. So ID, I know that it is going to be in the first column, and another thing that I need is user ID. So user ID is username, which is going to be in the second one, right? So that's it. I'm not going to display a lot of information, just the name right now, and I'm storing ID in case I have to delete the user through admin, or if I for that very same purpose I can hold on to ID, and it can be a hidden value in the view, right? So for now I am going to do that, and that is pretty much obvious. So this is done for now. I think it should be all good. So now let's try to do it through controller. So when we are calling out the admin, I should get the list of user, and let's do users list and user service dot get all users. All right, now in the model let's put one additional thing. So I will copy this because I don't want to create any typos. Save it. Now let's come to admin page. So here I'm going to add a tag lib here, because that tag lib is going to get used to identify what I'm going to do, otherwise it won't. So this is JSTL. So here what we need is we need to iterate over our list, but first we have to get the list and then iterate over that list and then print out each value. So I'm going to use here simple table, which later on I'm going to modify a bit. So now I'm going to use for each here. So here I need to provide first on which item I want to iterate. So that value we know that it is going to be users list, right? And then I need to have a variable. It's just like our for loop where we use ith variable for each index. So here it is going to get each value one by one in this variable, and then in tr I'm going to print out, right? Then we need td and hem here I'm going to print out using cout, right? And value should be user.user ID. Now how do I know it should be user.user ID? So if you go to user page or Pojo class, you can see that we hold down to this user ID, which is the username. So through this I can directly fetch. I think something went, yeah, values should be value. Is something else wrong? Right, so now let's do login one more time to admin. Alright, so here you can see each and every user that has been registered to our system. So this is what I wanted to do right now. It's not good enough. I know the user interface is not good and it doesn't give out anything, right? But still it's working functionality. Rather, we just have to do a few customization to our view, which I'm going to do in the later part of this series. So this is it for today. I hope you got something new from this video. If you did, don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe to my channel. Right, so I'm going to meet you in the next video, and for now, goodbye, stay safe, and yeah, bye bye.